up, world? R.I.C.H coming right back at you. There's a hard truth about life that most people don't learn until they're much older. Not everybody that smiles at you wants to see you win. Now, that might sound cold, but if you live long enough, you will see it for yourself. See, a lot of people think haters are easy to spot. They think haters are the ones who talk bad about you, the people who openly disrespect you, the people who don't like you. But the most dangerous people in your life are not your enemies. The most dangerous people are the ones who applaud for you in public and secretly hope you fail. They smile when you walk in the room, give you dap, call you brother, call you friend. But when you leave the room, the energy changes. Now, I know some people don't like to talk about this because it makes them uncomfortable. It makes them question their circle. It makes them question people they done known for years. But if you're trying to build something in life, if you're trying to do something different, if you're trying to go somewhere in life most people around you haven't gone, this is the reality you have to understand. Some people do not want you to win. Not because you did anything to them, not because they hate you, but because your success makes them uncomfortable. See, when you start changing your life, you start changing the energy around you. The same people who was comfortable with you when you were struggling don't always know how to deal with you when you start shining. When you start thinking bigger, when you start moving different, when you start talking about things they can't even see yet, that's when the shift happens. The joke start first. Oh, he think he better than us now. You change. Boy, you ain't answer no calls, is you? And a lot of people hear those words and think it's just friendly talk. But sometimes those words are something else. Sometimes they're the sound of someone being uncomfortable with your growth. See, a lot of people don't realize this. Success changes relationships. It changes conversations. It changes expectations. When you start moving forward in life, you are forcing people around you to start looking at their own life. And some people don't like that feeling. Some people don't want to look in the mirror. Some people don't want to ask themselves why they ain't started that goal they had yet. So instead of improving, they start resenting. And resentment is a very dangerous emotion because resentment doesn't always come out as hate. Sometimes it comes out as doubt. Sometimes it comes out as laughter. Sometimes it comes out as, bro, I'm just being real with you. That idea ain't gonna work. You should just keep doing what you've been doing. Why you trying to do everything? And if you ain't mentally strong, them words can slow you down. Them words can make you question yourself. Them words can make you play small just to keep everybody comfortable. But here's the truth. If you're doing something big with your life, everybody is not gonna be happy about it. Not even the people you grew up with. Not even people who claim to love you. And that's one of the hardest lessons to learn in adulthood. Realizing that some people are only comfortable with you when you on their level. As long as everybody's struggling together, then we good. As long as nobody is changing, then nobody gets left behind. But the minute one person starts climbing, the whole energy of the group changes. Because now there's a difference. Now somebody is moving. Now somebody is taking risk. Now somebody is chasing something bigger. And for some people, that is hard to watch. That realization can create jealousy. Not the type of jealousy people admit, the quiet type of jealousy. The type that hides behind smiles. The type that hides behind jokes. The type that hides behind, I'm just being honest with you. But here's the thing about life. You can't shrink your dreams to make other people comfortable. You can't play small so everybody around you feels safe. And you definitely can't stop building your future just because people around you are afraid of change. At some point in your life, you gotta accept the very simple truth. Everybody can't go with you. Everybody ain't built for the journey you on. Everybody ain't got the vision you got. And not everybody wants you to reach the heights that you chasing. But that don't mean you stop. That don't mean you quit. That don't mean you dim your light. It just means you learn something very important. You learn to move different. You learn to pay attention to energy. You learn to notice who celebrates your growth and who gets quiet when you start winning. Because real support ain't hard to recognize. Real support shows up without jealousy, without competition, and without secret resentment. And once you experience that kind of support, you will never confuse it with that fake shit again. And the main part about this conversation people don't like is this. Sometimes the people who don't want you to win ain't strangers. They are people you grew up with. People who know your history. People who know your struggles. People who saw you when you had nothing. And that's exactly why your success makes them uncomfortable. Because in their mind, you supposed to stay who you used to be. The person who fits inside of the version of you they created years ago. But life don't work that way. People grow. People evolve. People change. And growth can be very uncomfortable for people who don't like change. See, when you start expanding your mind, you start expanding your world. Your goals change. Your habits change. And sometimes, most of the time, the people around you don't change with you. So now you have a situation where one person is evolving and the other person is trying to hold on to the old version of you. That version that makes them feel safe. That version that makes them feel like nothing has changed. But you know something they don't know. You know that if you stay the same, you will never reach the life you see in your mind. And that's where the real conflict begins. Not a fight, not an argument, a quiet tension. A tension that shows up in small ways. They stop asking you about your goals. They stop celebrating your progress. They start making little comments like, damn, you work all the time. You always talking about business. And what they really saying is something different. What they really saying is, You are no longer the person I was comfortable with. But here's what you have to understand. Growth requires distance. Distance from old habits, distance from old mindsets, distance from people who can't see what you see. And that distance can feel lonely, very lonely, because the same people who used to be around you every day are now looking at you like a different person. And in some ways, you are a different person. Not because you think you better, but because you're trying to become something greater. And every person who has ever built something significant in life has had to go through this same stage. The stage where you realize your vision is not shared by everybody. The stage where you realize some people only love the version of you that didn't make them feel small. The stage where you realize not everybody wants you to make it to the next level. And that can be painful because you don't want to believe the people that you care about could feel like that. But human emotions are complicated. Jealousy is real, insecurity is real, and sometimes people project their own fears onto you. They say you changing when they really afraid to. And if you don't understand this, you can let their doubt become your limit. You can let their fear become your ceiling. But if you're serious about your life, you're serious about your purpose, you have to develop a certain kind of mental strength, a strength to keep going, even when the people closest to you don't understand your journey. The strength to keep believing, even when the room gets quiet, because sometimes the quiet is necessary. And once you understand that, you stop taking things personally. You stop trying to please everybody. You stop trying to explain your vision to people who can't see it. And you start focusing on something much more important, the work, the discipline, the journey. Because at the end of the day, your destination don't require nobody's approval. It only requires your commitment. Listen, after you realize that not everybody wants to see you win, you have to make a decision. Are you going to let that discovery make you bitter? Or are you going to let it make you wiser? See, a lot of people react the wrong way when they go through this. They get mad. They start cutting everybody off. They start seeing enemies everywhere. They start believing that nobody can be trusted. But that's not wisdom. That's not what I'm saying. That's pain. And pain can distort your vision just as much as being naive. The real lesson is not that everybody is against you. The real lesson is that not everybody is built to walk the path that you are walking. And once you understand that, you start seeing people for who they actually are, not who you hope they were. See, some people are only meant to be part of certain chapters in your life. They were meant to be there when you were learning. They were meant to be there when you were struggling. They were meant to be there when life was simple. But they were never meant to be there when you started building something bigger. And that's okay. That don't make them bad people. That just means their role in your story is over. Every person in your life has a season. Some people are winter, some people are summer, some people are just passing weather. And when their season is over, you have to be mature enough to let them go without hatred, without drama, without bitterness, just understanding. Because when you are focused on becoming the best version of yourself, you ain't got time to be at war with everybody. You ain't got time to be argumentative or bitter. You got work to do. You got goals to build. You got a future to create. And that future requires a certain kind of mental discipline. The discipline to keep moving even when people don't clap for you. The discipline to keep working even when people say you're wasting your time. Because here's one of the most important truths about success. Success is lonely in the beginning. Before the results show up, before the money come, before the world starts paying attention. This is a period where you are building something nobody else can see. And during that period, people will doubt you. People will question you. People will laugh at you. But none of that matters if you believe in what you build. None of that matters if your purpose is clear. None of that matters if your work is consistent. Because history has shown us something over and over again. The people who changed their lives were the people who kept going when nobody believed in them. And one day, the results spoke louder than the doubt. But here's the beautiful part about the moment. When you finally reach the level you were working for, you don't even care about proving people wrong no more. You're too busy living the life you worked so hard for. You didn't quit on yourself. And that's the real victory. Not the money, not the applause, not the recognition. The real victory is becoming the person you were always capable of being, even when the world didn't believe you could. And sometimes the people who didn't want you to win were just part of the story that made you strong enough to win. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Establish Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.